affordable real estate investment.com, a property investment guide to creating real estate income for properties priced under $30,000.
Hello, this is Lisa Phillips, and welcome to AffordableRealEstateInvestments.com. It's where I give you an honest and practical guide to real estate investing at a price you can afford. Today is episode 52. It's an audience question submitted, thankfully, by Joan P. Thank you, Joan. You've been following me since I have started this video blog series, and I really appreciate it. And her question today is, should you create an LLC before or after you purchase a property? And mostly it's before. So honestly before, and that's for many different reasons. But there's also some caveats to getting an LLC that you want to keep in mind. But before we start and I get into explaining that in much more detail, I want to say thank you all to those who've been following me, that you've been liking my episodes, and that makes a big difference to me. So it validates what I'm doing is worth it and that you want to follow me. You've been sharing my post. You guys are a great audience, and I know I'm not the most polished person in front of you, in front of this video blog, but you know what? It just means that you guys are a little bit more keen, and instead of wanting to see a fast-talking sales guy, you're okay with someone who's just a normal human being who has some experiences they can share with you. So I love the fact that you're the audience that, you see past all of that, any mistakes I might make, and you can work with me just to learn the knowledge and hear what I really have to say. And it says a lot about who my audience is and what they're really looking for. And I'm going to continue to bring this here because sometimes I feel I didn't have the information about someone in my circumstances. What if you don't make a ton of money? What if you don't have a 740 credit score? Can I not invest? And the answer is yes, but I didn't have that when I was going through it, so I had to do a lot of things on my own and just figure things out on the fly. And I want to share this with you so you don't have to worry about that and think, oh, I just can't do this for another 15 years. You can do it, but you just have to maybe think about certain things and rearrange your perception of where you think you can start. Sometimes you might start a little bit lower, and that's fine. It doesn't have to be doom and gloom. So, I'll keep bringing it to you so you don't have that lack of information and experience out there relating to you of how you can get started if everything's not perfect in your life, because I know it's not for mine. What's new is that my newsletter has finally gone out, so if you signed up and haven't received a confirmation email, please sign up again on the front of my website at www.realestateinvestments.com. And I want you to be looking out because some of you guys have questions about taxes and whatnot. And I'm going to send out an email blast asking you to submit to me whatever you want to know about taxes that you've had a question on. Doesn't matter if it's really small or really big. Trust me, we've all had the same question, regardless of how small it is or how big. And sometimes you just need those small details. So sign up for my newsletter, and when I send that out, you can immediately reply and just give me that question that you want answered. And I'm going to take them all together and try to provide them to you on my video blog. So, right. So let's get to the question. Should you get an LLC before or after? And it depends on a lot of things if you're going to get an LLC, but for the most part, if you're going to go the LLC route and you've thought about it long and hard, yes, you have to get it before. So the first thing is, the first reason you want to get it before is if you sign a contract and you want to put your LLC's name, the LLC has to be created. It has to be a legal entity. Otherwise, your contract's invalid. You can't create a sales contract and then, later put your name on, but it wasn't created and it wasn't like a legal entity. Contracts are between two legal parties. So you have to create it beforehand when you go into your contract. A good thing is you can usually take an afternoon or lunch and go down there and get it done. And I can create an LLC here in Virginia online for $100. So a lot of them are online, and you can do it all electronically. And you can get your employer identification number from the IRS electronically. So it can seriously take you 20 minutes to do this. That's why there's such a great business corporate entity and format that has been created specifically to help facilitate the needs of businesses. Now, I got my LLC because I want it so that if I have this house in this LLC and this house in this LLC, and something bad happens here and they come after me and my assets, there's no reason for them to go after that property. That's not part of it. So, I keep that separate. Now, if they get some expensive lawyer who's really good at wheeling and dealing, is it really going to protect me? You never know how good any of your protections are until you get up against someone with a lot of money who can spend the time to invest and researching this and researching the case law. But for the most part, for the standard person and the standard attorney, that should be enough to separate your, this assets from those assets. Like, there's nothing really linking you to it. So, that's the reason I get my LLCs. But you also need to find out exactly how your favorite banks or banks in your area deals with them. So I know my one credit union will refinance an LLC because I called and asked. Other banks will not refinance an LLC. Like, even though it's your business, so you need to understand who exactly you get the most business from. And I would call around to see exactly how some people relate to them versus others, because some banking institutions and loan institutions won't let you do that. And refinancing is important. You might have a house for 5 years that appreciated and you want to use that money for another property. And if it's in an LLC and they won't do it and you have to transfer it into your own name, you might have to pay a few $100s to do that. The prices change depending on what jurisdiction. I think in Baltimore it's a lot more expensive to transfer a title out of your name. Out of an LLC to your name, versus in other states it's a few $100s. Other states it might be $800, and it's a price you can't afford, but it's something you don't want to pay. So there's actually, one of my most recent purchase, I don't have my LLC's name on it. It's in my name, and I did that because of ease of getting it refinanced. Now that I know that another bank could have refinanced as an LLC, that's great, but I know the majority of banks will want it to be in your name. So this is so keep this in mind, that you need to have some sort of plan. You don't want to pay extra transfer fees later if you know up front that it should be in your name versus an LLC. But if you know ahead of time that you can't facilitate it with the banks and credit unions that you go to, then it's okay to do that because you know that it doesn't matter, it's an LLC. And sometimes you have to keep this in mind if you want to get an LLC. And this is the other part of it. So when it comes to LLCs, it's hard to get financing. So not for the most part, the ones I've met, they don't want to refinance an LLC. They want to refinance in your name for the property. So you got to keep it in mind. And the houses that I do have in LLCs were purchased with cash. Not much cash. One was $13,000, one was $11,000. But, I didn't have to worry about a mortgage. Some people get an LLC, and I've heard this happening. So they purchase the property in their name, and then they want to switch it to an LLC. Well, technically, once the deed switches out of your name, who the mortgage has a note with, versus someone else they don't know nor have any contract with, they can call that the loan is due and that you have to pay the full amount. And now I've heard that you can get around that maybe if you give them a call beforehand to see, if I put this in an LLC, can I do that without the loan being called due and I owe everything on it? Because, it makes sense too. If they have a contract with you and you title that secured property to someone else's name, they don't have a contract with that other person or entity. So yeah, it makes complete sense that they would have a problem with that. Like, you transferred out of the name, that's our property, we have a problem. So it makes sense. So A, call beforehand to know if they'll let you do that, so you don't get in trouble. And B, I've heard that some people say if you call them and let them know that it's your LLC and your property, they can work with you. But I am not a person who have so much money to spend on doing something wrong. So I would call beforehand. You know who your favorite bankers are. Go ahead, spend that afternoon, maybe the hour talking to different people in the loan origination department to see what their guidelines and policies are, because it'll just save you money in the long run and a lot of stress. You don't want the note being called due because you did this. So, and also keep in mind if it's if everything's in an LLC, sometimes there's issues about small claims court because you have to get like a lawyer and go to like a different level court. So as a person, you can go to small claims court. That's what it's for, the little people. But as a business entity, I think you have to go up to like state or federal court, which costs more money for the initial filings. So some people do choose not to necessarily go this route because they don't like the onerous task. And in some places like California, it costs $800 a month to keep your LLC going. I don't like paying $300 in Maryland versus my $100, sorry, not a month, $800 a year to keep your LLC up to date. So some people don't even want the LLC in their name. I mean, so in their business dealings, so they don't have to pay that $800 each year, ruining their cash flow. So also, you know, I pay $300 a year in Maryland, and that sucks. And it's $100 in Virginia. I actually think $100 is reasonable. You know, I heard in Delaware and Wyoming, it's even less, like $50. And a lot of people like to incorporate because they're really hands off and they just let you do your business and not think that they have a need to get their hands in the middle of what you're doing and get your hands on their profit, get their hands on your profit. So, and also if you do create an LLC, you got to do your own due diligence. Maintain separate bank accounts. Don't commingle funds. You have your bank account and that's it. So you have documented on every transaction, every check, exactly what you're going to do. And if the IRS audited you or anyone else, they would see that you only did business related items. And, you know, make sure you have an operating agreement. If you need help, you can just go on the internet like I did and find a basic format. And if you want more that's a little bit more, a little higher end and sophisticated, of course, you can go get the help to facilitate that. But, you know, for little guy purpose, you can do that. So, so between an LLC and people just say, hey, be good in your properties. Just take care of them. Don't ignore things when you know you should get them done. You can have your LLC, and my insurance policies have a liability aspect just in case you get sued. Up to $1 million is the policy. So between insurance that has liability claims for your rental property and LLC, and you just being a good and fair landlord, and I stress that, you should be really protected. But yes, do it before, in the circumstances that you know that you're paying cash. You can find a bank or loan to refinance you later on down the road. But, you know, keep in mind sometimes you can keep one or two properties out if you know that it's going to have more appreciation and you do want to refinance, so you don't have to worry about that. So keep that all in mind. And I just want to say, like I said, sign up for the newsletter. Sometimes I solicit questions from you guys on what you want to know in real estate investing that I might not have captured yet. And, you know, I just, like I said, I love what you guys are doing. It's fun interacting with you guys in the comments. You guys all say what you mean, but hey, I'm the same way, and that's probably why you like to listen to me. It's not cute, it's not pretty, and sometimes I stumble over my words, and it's not flashy, but hey, you know, do you want the real deal or do you want something flashy? And I'm going to give you the real deal, and I'm glad that you guys are able to, you know, have enough just to know that sometimes you got to look at that as important versus how flashy or sophisticated a production is. So I like to keep this coming, so you know your part is to sign in and press like and share and leave a comment. Let me know if I'm doing it right or I'm doing it wrong. You guys have been doing a great job with that. Please keep that up. This is going to be a fight to the end to make sure someone with my voice and my point of view that isn't like everyone else, who isn't perfect, gets out there and be able to share with the audience. If you're not perfect, how do you get this real estate investing thing done? How do you walk it through? And I also have some upcoming events that I will be able to share with the audience as well. So please keep coming back. I would like to, you know, I'll let you know when you get a little bit closer to finish time exactly what I'm going to do, what I want to share to you to make your life easier if you're getting started in real estate investing. So again, thank you very much. This is Lisa Phillips with AffordableRealEstateInvesting.com, where I give you an honest and practical guide to real estate investing at a price you can afford. Thank you.
Everybody get up.